Welcome, everyone. This is Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I will be your Master Coach today. And today we're going to be talking about fitness and mindset. Now, I'm not going to be doing this by myself. I'm going to be bringing on another wonderful fitness and mindset coach. He's going to be helping us understand his work, what he does, how he gets people on track. And I love his process because he does what many other coaches do not do in the fitness world. He holds you accountable day in and day out. Of course, you can have a coach that, creates a meal plan for you. Maybe you do a weekly check-in. Maybe that's enough for you. But some people, they need extreme accountability. They need someone on their booty every single moment because there's always going to be that temptation. Maybe you get a little bit hungry. Maybe something is going on in your day and you're like, you know what? I need a day that is a self-care day, but self-care can be actually self-hurt. Eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's is not self-care. It's a disaster. So in order to alleviate some of the disasters that many people go through, sometimes on purpose, sometimes by accident. Now, I can't say it's an accident eating a whole pizza, but if we don't create the consciousness to what we're doing, it can be something that we're not fully aware of. We're not mindful. We're not doing the things that are going to help us get to the body that we want. We have this idea, but we don't have the process yet. And we all have this idea of our ideal person. Now, that ideal person might not be the perfect weight yet because we can't see that vision of ourselves because we might have never had it. But we can look at other people, we can look at other things and say, this is something that I think I might like. Think of it as a large amount of money. If you have a large amount of money, then you might say, money is not everything. But if you don't have a large amount of money, you might say, oh, it would be nice to have a large amount of money. But yet happiness and money, some say it's around 75,000. So there's no correlation to being happier if you make over 75,000. Now in our world of inflation today, we might be looking at $124,000, the difference, right? Just because you make less than $124,000, are you any less happy? The answer is, it depends on you. And you get to decide your level of fitness. You get to decide what level of mindset you have. Some people, they want to be this endurance racer that runs these huge marathons. And there's some people who, just want to be able to, come home and spend time with their family and be able to support them. And that's enough mindset for them. And that's enough financial stability for them. They don't have to do much. Not everyone has to live this grandiose life where you live in mansions. Some people are perfectly fine living in a cabin. But all of that is to be said, we give ourselves an underlying status quo for what we expect from ourselves and what we expect from others. But yet, we hold others to a higher degree than we do ourselves. You will probably never be ridiculed by someone doing more than you. You will always be ridiculed by someone, or the majority of times that if you are ridiculed, you will always be ridiculed by someone who's doing less than you. So that means the people who want to see you fail, the people who do not want to see you win, who want to be those anchors and want to bring you down and be those toxic figures in their life, they are going to be the people who are doing less than you. It might seem like you want to be relatable to them, but sometimes you have to separate yourself from some people. You have to figure out what works best for you. Today, we're going to be looking at what you need to do to get yourself to the fitness level you need to be, and then understand your true mindset, because your mindset is going to be that dictator to whether you're going to do it or whether you're not going to do it. We're not looking to be like everyone else. We're looking to be the best version of ourselves. What is that version of you? Today, we're going to be walking through that process with my guest, Elijah Hines. Welcome, Elijah Hines, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Michael. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. Today, I have you on as a fitness and a mindset coach. And when it comes to fitness, you do have to have a strong mindset. Not many people give themselves the idea of mindset or even the mindset of fitness. So we're going to be talking about your work and why people are in this mentality today. In your own words, tell the people who you are, what you do, and how you help.
Yeah, so my name is Elijah Hines. My coaching is Oak City Strong on Instagram and everywhere else. I've been a personal trainer and strength coach at Capital Strength in Raleigh, North Carolina for the last 3 years. It's a great private facility. We do a lot of good work there. And then recently I've launched my online efforts as well. And what I really like about that is the workouts are great. It's super important. It will transform your life. Having a good relationship with food, mindful eating, super important. But like you said, if we're not right up here, we can't execute on those things to the best of our ability and we can't stick to it. So I go a little deeper with my online clients. If there's missed workouts, missed days of eating what we're supposed to eat, we go deeper. I'm asking why is this happening? What's really going on? In just the fitness space, unfortunately, it's kind of scooted around. People feel like, well, maybe this isn't really my scope of practice or whatever. So I'm here if they need to do their next bench press workout, but past that, leave it at that. And that's not going to work for me. This stuff really changed my life when I unlocked that third piece of the puzzle, the mindset. That's when my life really transformed. When I looked at the weight room as a gift, when I looked at every workout as a gift versus this desperation to get stronger or get swole or what have you. It's just, hey, I'm just happy to be here, happy to lift these weights, be in a better place because of it. Yeah, it changed my life.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to fitness, you feel so much better after you do it. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I give myself this mentality when I want to go to the gym or I need to go to the gym because I go to the gym 5 times out of the week. And I say, you know what? Today it's raining outside, it's cold. I'm a little hungry, I'm a little tired, I didn't sleep well. I'm giving myself all these excuses. And if I don't go to the gym, I feel terrible. And you would think it's the opposite, right? I didn't go exert energy. I should feel amazing. Why is it that when we go to the gym, we feel better after?
I think a lot of it has to do with talk about like anxiety and stress. Like once you've released all that effort and all that strain, now the little things in our day to day, they just kind of bounce right off of you. I think about it sometimes. In one workout of straining yourself, taking sets near or to failure, in 1 hour of that, you've exerted more physical force in like 60 to 90 minutes than someone that doesn't work out might in 6 months, literally. Like producing more force through your body, that stress reliever is incredible. Like I don't get road rage. I don't get hung up on these little confrontations that people might have day to day. Cause it's like, dude, I was just fighting for my life for like 17 sets in a row. I'm good. I got it out of my system. When people don't have that, we have this built up like energy that has to go somewhere. So it ends up exploding in these bizarre confrontations.
Yeah, that is so true. I've been fighting for my life for the past 17 sets. And it's true because in life, everyone fights, those 24 hours in their day. But yet, if they give themselves 1 hour of fitness or 1 hour challenge, it's going to give them more tools to fight that stress and anxiety that they may be feeling from their relationships, their jobs, or even in their personal life. And as you said, you go beyond just the regular fitness aspect. If someone's not showing up to the gym, it's more than just that they don't want to do squats today. It's something that's going on in their mind and their life, and they're giving an either or. I would rather do this than that, but they don't understand the benefits of doing that and remaining to do whatever they're doing, whether it be sitting on the sofa, being on their phone, going out to eat fast food, right? Those things become unappealing after a certain time. And what was the trigger for you? Because you said early on, like getting buff or like doing things like physical physique, you started to treat fitness and mindset as a gift. What was that trigger for you?
Yeah, so honestly, it was losing weight and seeing myself kind of get weaker in the gym for many, many years. It was all about as many plates on the bar as possible. I would even say that word for word. They'd be like, so like, what's your main thing? And I would just say as many plates on the bar as possible. That'd be my answer. And the way I got to that was by putting down as many plates as possible in the kitchen. I got way too damn big for the goal and effort to be the biggest beast in the gym possible, right? And when I realized I had gotten too fluffy and too soft and I had to chop the fat off, I saw all this progress that I worked so hard for start to dwindle down. And it kind of fucked me up at first. And then I was like, you know what? This is crazy. Some people, they don't even have a gym they don't even have access to this. Some people are dealing with like the craziest things you could deal with. And I'm getting upset because I'm lifting like 5 pounds less on my overhead or whatever, something silly like that. Just kind of brought it down to the core basics. Like, what are we doing here? We're lifting weights, we're getting stronger, we're getting in better health, we're getting in a better mindset for the rest of the day. And I'm really shooting myself in the foot by making it a negative. It's the most positive thing someone can do. And I'm tainting it, I'm poisoning it by being like, oh, but it's not enough. It's not good enough. And a lot of people do that. They measure themselves up compared to other people, or maybe compared to something they used to do. And it's like the gift that lifting gives you, if we sabotage that by feeling like we're not doing enough, or oh, I'm not as good as this person, it's really a shame. That was definitely the trigger to just take it as it is and just extract only the positive and not do any of this weird mental negative stuff with it.
And as you go, you actually get better at lifting in your physical fitness when you start to take away some of the stigmas that we have once believed, especially as men,
100%.
when we're, in high school. We want that six pack, we want this certain type of body, this physique, because it does help get girls a lot more readily and easily. But then later on, maybe now you're a father, maybe you get that dad bod. I'm sure you heard about those, the dad bod. And some girls like the dad bod, right? Because it's not as intimidating as a guy who's all yoked up and big and all these muscles, right? Because then in their eyes, they're like, oh, I have to keep up with that now. Because if we look at women over the age of 40 today, 45% of them are overweight. We can see the trend of obesity starting to increase. 45% of women over the age of 40 is 38% of men over the age of 40 are going to be obese. So we can see this is crazy. And that's just the standard or the typical norm. Yet we don't have to have that norm. A lot of people, they give this mindset to themselves of, well, I used to be able to do this and I can't do this anymore, so I'm going to stop cold turkey versus just adjusting to where they are. If I hurt my body somewhere, hurt my elbow, hurt my back or something, I'm not going to say, well, I can't go to the gym anymore. This is my life. I'm 35 years old. I guess this is just how is going to be. But then you look at the people who are 65, 70 years old in the gym and they look amazing. What was that trigger in their mind that kept them in shape and not choosing to fill up their plates or go to the buffet every single weekend? They chose health and fitness. So when it comes to choosing health and fitness, is it something that people can readily do, or is it something that people have to fight with themselves and say, this is what I want for myself?
I think if anyone takes the time to be purely objective and rational about this, the conclusion is inescapable. I mean, it's like talking about the mindset stuff. Everything changed for me when I thought in black and white terms, binary, good and bad, helping or hurting. If anyone in their right mind was like, well, which one is better? Looking in the mirror and being like, oh, that's unfortunate. Or looking in the mirror and being like, that's amazing. That's me. That's me. Not a guy in the magazine or not the dude in the movie. That's literally me. Which one is better? I'm smiling just saying this imaginary scenario that we're talking about in this hypothetical person. It's bringing a smile to my face. We intrinsically know which one's better. And it's like, which one's better? Overeating and being tired and like getting off the couch, you're like, oh my God. Or eating the right amount. And again, I mean, it all feeds into each other. If you eat the right amount, you're going to look better. If you eat too much, you're going to look worse. It's like, it's irrefutable. It's undeniable. It's subjectively true. No one's going to be like, I would rather look worse, actually. Like, gun to my head, I would much rather just be repulsed by what I see in the mirror than enjoy. Like, it's crazy. In the fitness space, this topic is on our mind 24/7. It's very easy to be like, well, yeah, of course. Outside of the fitness space, these conversations aren't happening. People are not addressing their weaknesses. Everyone is worried about protecting each other's feelings, but really it's actually selfish. Like, I'm not saying we should just roll up to people that are overweight and be like, damn, you look like shit. I don't have the balls to do that. But you got to wonder, how many lives would that change? I'm not saying I'm going to start doing that. I'm not saying people should, but that's what it took for me. It took me getting triggered from people I saw on YouTube or even some people in my inner circle saying directly or indirectly, like, you look fucking terrible. And it stung. I was just thinking before we jumped on this call, a client at the gym, my belly. I used to have to like be very strategic with my attire. I had like my shirt tucked in. I was like, all right, I think it looks okay. Then I'd like pull it out a little bit and like, all right, yeah, we're cool, we're cool. She poked it and she was like, it's out. What she said, and I was like, my face turned red. I'm in the middle of training a client and it got kind of awkward. I'm like shook up driving home. If people get triggered, there's a reason. I wouldn't get triggered by that now because it's not out. The reason I got triggered is because it was true. So a lot of it is just starting from that true starting point, we have to be real with ourselves. And BMI and other like hard stats, or even trying to be like, oh, well, maybe it's not even that accurate. It's like, this is crazy town. If you're in good health or in bad health, you look good, if you look bad, if you feel good or if you feel bad. And again, which one's better?
Yeah, this is the aspect of our world today where we all want to be accepted, but we don't want to do the work to be accepted. So we just pretend in our mind that we're accepted the way we are. However, there is going to be a bias for men and women. Men don't necessarily have the guise of delusion. We live in a fact-based world. Either we're overweight or we are looking good. We have the body positivity movement is more geared at women. You could be any size, any shape, and you're just fine the way you are. But it's so interesting because even when I start working with these women who once said, this is who I am, I like myself for who I am, we start working, right? And we start with mindset because I do primarily mindset. I do some fitness, but I typically outsource the fitness work now. And when I do that and we're working on the mindset aspect, we finally get to the point where they lost a certain amount of weight, right? And we don't typically give ourselves a goal. We'd just say, hey, look, if we want, let's lose 2 pounds a month, 5 pounds a month, whatever, right? We'll do it safe, we'll do it slow. And the process, as they go on, they start taking more pictures, more selfies, and the idea that they gave themselves early, like, oh, yeah, I don't want to be too skinny. Oh, like I'm gonna look like a stick, or like they give themselves this idea that they're gonna look worse, but they start to look better. And we do it gradually. And so month after month after month, they get to see themselves now. They look better and they start to feel more confident in themselves. And then they're like, I like this person that I created versus the person that they were, because now we have a compare and contrast. Would you rather be that person that you were, or would you rather be this person that you are now? And most people, they say, I'm happy with where I'm at now. And sometimes when people give themselves a goal, for example, I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, great. You want to lose 50 pounds. Once you reach that goal, what is I guess you can say, the anchor keeping you there? Because if you just lost 50 pounds, on a fad diet, doing keto, restricting yourself for so much, you finally lose the weight. But then you finally, reach it and you're like, okay, great, I can let loose. And this is where people gain back all the weight, if not more. And then now it becomes a battle of attrition. Are they willing to do that fight again? And most are not willing to do that fight again. Most say, I already did it once, I can't do it again. If you ran a 100-mile race, you probably said that race sucked. I'm not doing that again. But at least I did it once in my life. And it's very similar to how if someone wants to lose a enormous amount of weight, anything, over 25 pounds can be daunting to a lot of people. For that, it's like that 100-mile race for them. How can we start to give people a mindset that, yes, you might have relapsed. Yes, you might have or hurt your body and really gone off the marker or the Richter scale, no pun intended. We are trying to get you to where you truly want to be. No more of this false reality of the body positivity, who you can say, I'm 100% satisfied with. How can we get people more readily to that? And even if they fell off from where they were, how can we start to give them the momentum to get back to that?
Yeah, it's kind of a cliche answer, and we've all heard it, but it really is just a lifestyle. If you look at dieting as this extreme external thing that I'm doing versus it's just what I do. Like, I don't think in terms of I do cardio or I lift or I track my macros. It's almost just happening. It's just automated. And this is the goal for everyone. I video coming out later about this. Things that people struggle with, it's because they haven't been doing it for very long. Like the things that you do for a long time, it's so automated, it's psychotic. I haven't thought in months and years, am I going to work out today? I haven't had a second thought or like, I'm feeling kind of tired. It just doesn't happen. But I don't really get to take any satisfaction in that. Like it should be that way. It's habit. Like we know this. What's in motion tends to stay in motion, right? So a lot of it is just it being so automated monk mode that you're barely even having to think about it. It's taking less conscious energy and conscious attention. But that can't happen until you do force yourself to have that conscious attention and conscious energy put into it. But yeah, it really is a lifestyle. Like I see some people that work out a few times a week and I can tell they're still doing barbecues on the weekends and drinks on the weekends and eating whatever. And 1 year, 2 year, 3 years go by and they look the same. I'm like, that's brutal. To me, that would be brutal because you're putting in the same amount of time in the gym. Outside of the gym, you would literally just turn a few dials. I'm going to do this one thing different. I'm going to turn this dial down. And this thing, I'm just going to take that all together. And it would 10x your results. Like, it's not even that crazy what's required to get the body of your dreams. That's where people mess up too. They make it seem like this Mount Rushmore. They're like, oh my God, there's no way. It's not that crazy. Once you built the habit and now it's just what you do. But as far as when people fall off, I mean, you just got to get back on it. It's just a part of the day. It's having it penciled in. It's having the time frame. It's not, oh, I'll finish everything. And then after that, I'll see if I can work out. You already know, like you said, I'm working out. It's not the time I thought it was going to be, but it's not even a question of maybe I could just wait till tomorrow. It's like, it's happening. It's just what you do.
I like to think of it as like, let's say you're running and it could be on the treadmill, outside, it doesn't matter where you're running, right? Sometimes when you stop, you're fighting with your brain. You're like, I'm tired. My heart's gonna pop out of my chest. I'm gonna have a heart attack, whatever. There's a lot of things going on in your brain when it's sending out that like fight or flight response. Like it doesn't know what's happening. It's very similar to how the brain doesn't know what fear truly is, right? Public speaking, like one of the reasons why people are afraid of it is because they can't differentiate between if the fear of speaking in front of an audience is the same as being in front of a lion. They don't know. Like the brain can't say this is different. It's the same. And so when we're fighting that fight with ourselves, like not to stop, and we do stop, it creates a point in our mind of, okay, this is the cap. It could be the cap for today, but it is going to be the cap for some people. Like, oh, I can only run a half a mile without, losing my breath or something like that. And sometimes when that happens, it's harder for them to start again because maybe their goal for the day is a mile and they stop at the half mile and they try to run again, but they stop immediately. They try to run again, they stop immediately. The best thing they can do is to get to the mile, but how can we start to give ourselves a better aspect to if we stop, let's say running, if we stop doing our fitness goals, because we can look at New Year's resolutions as a perfect example. They start, but they stop 3 months, 4 months in. How can they get back on, even if we have the mindset of just try to finish?
One of my favorite cues I throw at people at the gym if we're hitting a set of 5 or a set of 10 is I'll say, hey, we're doing this 1 rep at a time. And then I'll say, like, as if there's an alternative, I'll usually get a little smirk or something like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. What is the alternative versus doing the very best we can, literally moment to moment to moment to moment? There is no alternative. There is no, I'm actually going to skip where I am, fast forward 10 minutes from now, and I'm going to tweak this. All we have is doing the very best we can in this very moment and doing that to infinity. I mean, that it never ends.
We have the aspect of a never-ending cycle. Why do people end that cycle prematurely?
I think for a lot of people, it comes down to identity and even something as positive as, like, let's say someone's physique is at a 6 out of 10 and they feel pretty good about themselves. And if it was a 10 out of 10, they would be like on cloud nine. For a lot of people, that 10 out of 10 physique or that 10 out of 10, whatever, they're like, yeah, but that's for those workout people. But that's for like those young fitness guys that are like really into the gym. I'm just John that mows my lawn on the weekends and hangs out with my dog. Like, it's kind of an identity thing, right? Which to me is so weird because it's like, again, I mean, which one's better? If you would be more proud of yourself, if you would enjoy your day to day more, if you look like this, let's just do what it takes to look like this. But we get really in our heads about it. It's like, oh, that's not really me. I'm so. It's like, why do we put ourselves in these categories? It's very odd. Or they literally can't, in their mind's eye, even imagine them looking a certain way. This is a big one. If someone cannot even imagine or visualize them being in a certain place, they will unconsciously like zigzag around the right decisions. I've seen this even in my own training. Like, you will literally be blind to the program that'll get you to your goal if you feel that goal is unrealistic or unattainable. Like, it could be right smack in front of you and you'll be like, well, what's going on over here? It's like, dude, you said you wanted to bench 225, like that literally works. And they're like, yeah, but I don't know. It's the program seems a little weird. I didn't think if it wasn't my idea, I'm not going to do it. It's like, what is going on here? Because that person doesn't believe they could arrive at there in the first place. That's a big part of it. If people don't think that they can get to a certain place, and they're going to unconsciously self-sabotage.
You talked about the idea of identity, and identity can be a good thing, but it can also be a negative thing. Let's say my identity is this guy who's super buff and super strong, and I can bench 225, but my reality, my current identity is someone who cannot. I cannot do those things. And I have the limiting belief that I cannot do those things because maybe I tried once before and I failed. How can we start to change others' identity to what it truly should be? Because they have an inkling of what they want. If you ask someone, do they want a Ferrari or a Jaguar? They probably say, yeah, I want this type of car. They can be very specific in what they want. But yet, when it comes to our life and our true identity, many people, I guess their unknowingness to dive into that true identity stops them from truly trying to attain it every single moment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just reverse engineering that whole process. I love that example about the car or making more money. There's so many things like that where if you ask someone like, "Hey, would you like to be rich?" Well, yeah. And then you're like, "Well, what are you doing to get rich?" They're like, "Absolutely nothing." It's like, "Well, do you want it?" They're like, "Well, yeah." It's like there's a massive disconnect here. Anyone can think about a kind of a lofty, daunting goal, and they could be uneducated. They could have never even looked into the topic. And within minutes of reverse engineering, all right, this goal is way over here. I'm way back here. What would the steps be to where I am now? I guarantee anyone and everyone would think of like 5 to 10 new things right now that they had never thought of. Our brain is so much more powerful than we give it credit for or we realize, but it's very indifferent. It's going to work with what we give it. If we give it very specific things, it'll start giving you some amazing shit that you would have never even thought possible. For like, I could do that. You could just think of a side hustle you can start doing, or you'll just start doing more research. Start Googling, what would I do if I have this many hours a week to dedicate to a side gig? What would it be? You'd find 5 or 10, find the one that fits the best, try it. It doesn't work, process of elimination. I'm trying the next one. But even that already, those people are like, okay, I don't want to be rich. I take it back. It's too much. It's like, well, okay. I mean, if you don't want it, that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't have any goals of being like elite sport or anything like that. Like, I'm not saying everyone should have the mansion and the supercars and just be busting out of their skin. Like, for sure, we all have our own interests and likes and dislikes, right? But all that being said, our brains are very powerful. It will give you answers that you didn't know if you give it specific questions, like, how would I do this? Just ask yourself that and hang out for 2 minutes with your eyes closed. You'll start thinking of some shit.
Yeah, does come down to preference because you get to figure out what you like, what you don't like. Someone who's overweight, they might not know how it feels to be the ideal body size. If we look at BMI, for example, it tells you your appropriate weight. And when you get to that weight, how do you feel? Do you feel like you have more energy? Are you more flexible? Did that back pain that you used to have, is it gone? We start to look at that. I remember even when me, because I'm 6'4", I'm tall. For some people, it's more difficult to put on muscle and weight when you're just like that slender build. And it took me a long time for me to like gain weight. It's easier when you're older though, because your metabolism slows down. And I remember like in high school, I can eat like 5 pounds of rice and beans and like a bunch of chicken. I wouldn't gain a single pound of weight. But today, if I did that, I'll probably be 20 pounds overweight just from eating that 6 pounds of food. It's a change, but I did have to go through that process of developing what I was looking for. And I didn't necessarily know what I wanted because I haven't been there yet. So I was 190 and I'm like, maybe I want to be 200. So I get to 200. It's like, oh, I like how I'm looking. I like how I'm feeling. Let me go up to 210. I get to 210. I say, okay, this is decent. This is nice. Let me try 215. I get to 215. I go, whoa, I don't like this. And it's because I'm looking at myself now. I'm looking at the physique and maybe I'm looking at my whole overall aspect of my life. Because I'm not only looking at what I see in the mirror, I'm looking at what I would like to sustain. because maybe that physique is going to require me to eat 3, 4 times a day, and I don't have time for that. Maybe I have to spend 2 hours in the gym. I don't have time for that. So I had to figure out what type of lifestyle did I want to mix in with my fitness goals too. Because sometimes people, they give themselves something that is not manageable for a long period of time. Think of, like, the New Year's resolutions. I'm going to go to the gym 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what happens is they don't do that because they can't do it because it's not sustainable for them. They didn't build themselves up. They didn't build the endurance. And finally, they break. And when they break, they're like, well, I'm broken. What's the point? And this is where you do have to know your preference, know what you're looking for, and then do everything in your power that's going to help you maintain that long term, as you said, lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good point on trying to do too much too early. I always tell people on a regular basis in my Instagram story, I'm like, look, you see me up at 3:30 in the morning every single day. You see me lift every single day. You see me eating in this way, training in this way. I do that because I genuinely enjoy it. It would be more difficult for me not to do that. The more I work out, the better I feel, the better my days are. The workout's always done before I barely have my first human interaction. And life for me is better that way. But I tell them, you don't have to do that. I have clients that train full body 2 to 3 times a week, and they're mindful of what they eat, and they get 10,000 steps a day, maybe 12 to 15 on a good day, and they look great. And it's not that crazy of a time or energy investment, but they'll go from the couch to like a 6-day push-pull leg split and then drive to the gym. They're like, oh, this is just too much. And like you say, eventually it catches up to them and it's all or nothing. They were hitting the gas hard and now their foot's off and it's totally dead. So what's required for people to achieve their fitness goals, their health goals, their weight goals? It's not as crazy as most people think. Just walking, having a step counter with a Fitbit or a Garmin or whatever you want to use is so powerful, but it doesn't feel that intense. So a lot of people kind of sleep on it. They're like, no, don't you need to do like the sprints and the Tabata protocol or something? It's like, no, don't eat like a jackass. Be in motion more than you're not in motion. That alone takes care of like 60, 70% of this.
Yeah, that's very true. And then just the idea that they can do it if they put their mindset to it. However, many people, they don't give themselves the mindset, they don't give themselves the fitness goals and the aspect to it. They just kind of, live life. It is easier to go get fast food than to cook a home cooked meal or meal prep. It is easier to come home and sit on the sofa than it is to go to the gym. But if you make it a discipline, your habits, part of your daily routine and lifestyle, then it's almost something like, as you said, it's automatic. And that is typically what we want to get to when it comes to our fitness and to our mindset. We don't want to be riddled with, worries and stress and all these anxieties in our life. Many people, they want to be financially free. They want to, be financially fit, but they're not doing the things to get there. And the same thing is true with their mindset. The same thing is true with their fitness. All of these things are interrelated. And one of the things that, if you ask like a millionaire or billionaire, like, what are some of the things that make you successful? They say to be active, to move, to not just stay where you are. Get up, get out. That's going to be something that's going to create a positive impact in your life. And our conversation today is just a start, because there's going to be many obstacles for fitness and mindset. And that is why it's important to have a coach, someone on your side to help you along the way, because we all have blind spots. I have plenty. And we want to make sure that we are covering those blind spots and we're having someone who can help and support us along the way. As we begin to wrap up, Elijah, I would love for you to tell the audience some final words and for you to tell where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Close. Let's go back to what you said earlier about it took you getting to 215 to realize, oh, actually, I'm not that crazy about that. Experience is the ultimate teacher. You can't really speak on or have an opinion on really anything if you haven't experienced it. Someone that drinks a little less, but they still drink, they don't have a valid opinion on the value of not drinking at all, being sober. Someone that's never been jacked doesn't get to say, oh, it's really not all about being jacked. You don't have any true place to speak on about that because you never experienced it. And I say all that to say, any of these things that you're like, yeah, but maybe it's not even all that great. Just find out. It's not even going to take that long to get there. If someone's been 8, 9% body fat, and they're like, honestly, I enjoyed being 12 to 14 better, the flexibility. I wasn't as restrictive. and I'm genuinely happier and my quality of life is higher when I'm here, they're totally spot on. They've seen both sides of the equation. But if you've only seen your one side, you got to get on that other side to really know what that life is like. Experience is the greatest teacher. But as far as where to find me, definitely hit me up on Instagram, Oak City Strong. I'm on all the other platforms, but that's definitely where I'm the most active and engaged. And we do the whole thing. The workouts are personalized. I set your macros, I set your diet, and we talk every single day about self-sabotaging habits and self-limiting beliefs, because these are the things that truly get in the way. Like we said earlier, if you don't believe you deserve to arrive at this point, or you don't believe you're capable to arrive at this point, you will unconsciously self-sabotage. You will forget to work out, or you will forget to eat protein that night because you don't think you deserve it or think it's even possible. And I'll be there in your ear every single day to say, no, this is what we're going to do. I need you to see this. Let's pull this off. Let's get you there, and then we'll discuss if it wasn't all it's cracked up to be. But I already know what you're going to say when we get there.
And that's a great place to be for your clients to be. It's a place of empowerment, to say the least, because they don't truly understand who they can become. And sometimes it takes a coach to, take that person that you don't want to be and you pull it out, like say, hey, I know you don't want to be great, but you're going to be great today. And they are going to thank you for that. And I thank you for, being a wonderful coach, coming on, sharing your wisdom with us today. And all those links for people to easily find you are going to be in the description box below. I encourage everyone to check out what Elijah is doing, to learn more about his process, to get themselves back into being in order. Let's call it that, because everyone has a higher order of being. Some people are going to serve up what they have to serve to get there, and some people are going to say, you know what, let me just be a bystander and take the scraps of what life gives me. But today, I want you to line up for greatness. I want you to line up for something better in your life, and to choose fitness and to choose mindset, because it's going to elevate you to new heights in your life. I want to thank you again, Elijah Hines, for coming on and spending some time with me. All right, everyone. I'd like to thank you so much for watching that interview of my guest, Elijah Hines. What went on in the episode is we talked all about fitness. We talked all about mindset. We talked how to get to the goals that you want to get to. All of this is to be said. The process is not as going to be as clean and cut as, all right, here's what you need to do. It's going to be easy. There's going to be days when you're going to relapse. There's going to be days when you struggle. There's going to be days when you're going to feel like you're not enough. And those are the days that you lean on your coach. When you do this thing by yourself called life, everything, all the burdens that you give yourself, the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, it's something that you feel like, I have to walk through this by myself. But yet, this is something that you don't have to go through at every moment of your day or waking moment by yourself. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then they do it. But then to what degree? They stop eventually when they get tired. They don't become disciplined. They fell off. They got injured. And then that's their excuse. There's no excuse when it comes to who you can be and who you should be. You might say, well, this is the reason this person stopped me. The only person who can stop you is you. And sometimes we need to have this access in our mind that's going to, always open the doors for potential. We all have it every single day. When we wake up, when we hit the snooze button, or if we sleep through the snooze button, it's a choice. When we wake up and we decide to, eat a big breakfast we don't need, it's a choice. When we have a bunch of bagels and cakes for lunch with a bunch of Snicker bars, it's a choice. Sometimes those choices can have negative effects on our body and our mind, because now we might be eating more than what we need. So we're gaining more weight than what we truly want. This is going to be like the idea of, well, if you're 150 today, and let's say you're going to do a test today. Well, I'm going to test to see how many hamburgers I can eat. So if I do gain weight, I know what my cutoff is. So let's say you eat one hamburger. Okay, I didn't gain any weight. Maybe you lost a pound, right? So you're like, okay, now I know I can eat more than one hamburger. So you eat 2 hamburgers. And then you're like, uh-oh, I gained a pound. All right, so my limit is 1 hamburger. But that's not the whole truth, because you can eat those 2 hamburgers. You can give yourself a workout regime. And remember, you can never outwork a bad diet. But I'm not talking about when you're making a lifestyle eating hamburgers every single day. Maybe you just love hamburgers. You want hamburgers at least once a month. Maybe call it a cheat meal or whatever, right? Do not restrict yourself from the foods you love, because then when you finally get those foods, you're going to overindulge, and it happens more so than not. If you can have ice cream in the house, more power to you. Some people, they can't even have these things in the house. You have to figure out what is your threshold of, I guess you can say, self-control. Once you figure out that, then you can say, all right, I know what I should be doing in my day. I'm eating the right amount of macros. I'm doing everything I need to be doing in the gym. I'm not half-assing it. Because sometimes you might just go to the gym for the sake of going to the gym. And it can be good for the mindset, but the body's going to suffer because now you're giving it something different. I'm not saying that every day you're going to be 100%, but what I'm saying is every single day you should be pushing for that 100%. Even if you don't have it, what can you give me? Can you give me 100% of what you got? You might be operating at a 50% capacity that day, but give me all 50%. Don't save some for later. Don't put some in the tank and say, you know what? This is for a rainy moment in my life. This is for just in case there's fight or flight. Our body, our brain has been engineered to protect us in that sense. We don't know when we need to fight for our life or run from our life. That's why we keep some energy in reserve. We have to learn how to unlock those things. We have to reach that potential of what we can accomplish, what we can do. And not everyone can do that by themselves. Some people, they need someone pushing them. I work best when someone's pushing me, when someone's telling me, hey, you need to get this done. You need to get going. Versus, okay, I know what I need to do. I know what's going to get done. I'm just so much more effective and efficient when I have someone helping me. This is why a coach is so powerful. If you want to make big changes in your life, it takes a lot longer to do something big if you're doing it by yourself. Not saying that you can't do it by yourself, but how quick do you want to get to your goals? Do you want to wait until you're 65 to finally feel better? Or do you want to do it when you're 35? Or you want to do it when you're 40? You want to feel good today? You want to feel good tomorrow? Most people who get sick, have a cold, a broken bone, or something wrong with their body, they want to get back to normal as quick as possible. But yet many people don't realize their true potential. They don't realize their true worth because they are so out of whack, so out of shape. And I'm not even talking about physical fitness. I'm talking about mindset fitness also. They don't know what they can do. They don't know that they're powerful. They don't know that they can push themselves an extra mile, whether it be career, whether it be relationships. They can get better at it. And this is something that we have to look at. We have to look at all aspects of our life and not just appreciate what we have all the time, but we have to appreciate that we can change our circumstance. We can treat today as a gift. We can treat this moment as an opportunity that other people don't have and we do have it. We take things for granted until they're gone. Today is going to be an opportunity for you to not take what you have for granted. An opportunity to change your life for the better, an opportunity to change your fitness, an opportunity to change your mindset in all aspects of your life. It does require work. It does require dedication. It does require consistency. But if you can commit to those 3 things alone, you're going to be more effective than probably 80% of the world. And it sounds crazy how just doing those small, simple tasks can create a huge change in your life. You get to decide the end goal of you. And I hope it's going to be someone that you might not know yet. Because if you knew that person, I don't think you would keep them waiting. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, email me coachinginsession@gmail.com. And I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.